Recently, I watched Train to Busan, a really famous Korean movie where all the characters are living in a zombie apocalypse. And naturally, like every normal human being in the world, it made me wonder which Fire Emblem Engage characters would survive a zombie apocalypse. But weirdly enough, it seems like I'm the only one brave enough to post about it. I'm not gonna spoil any of the movie, but I feel like these are all pretty standard archetypes, you know? And I'm just looking at the cast right now and seeing if there's like anyone I can rank instantly. Any instant deaths. And, okay, you know what? Most characters I feel like are self-sufficient, but there's one character that I just have absolutely no confidence in. And like, I'm looking at him and I'm like, there's no way he's not an instant death, man. This guy, look, I'm sorry, but like, he's gonna be the type of character that was literally just added to the movie because they needed someone to kill off instantly. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way he's not gonna die instantly. And also on that note, I really just feel like the twins, have you seen their starting cutscene at the very beginning? They're so incapable. They're gonna die instantly. Like, I was thinking, like, for a second, I was thinking maybe it's just Fram, but nah, there's no way Clan doesn't die as well instantly. Like, he's capable, but in panic moments, he's just going to absolutely freeze up and be completely useless, and he's gonna die instantly. Fram, it kind of goes without saying, she's an instant death. These guys don't really stand a chance. But in terms of like the rest of the cast, I'd say most of them, other than that, are like pretty capable. Bune, I don't know why, gives me kind of like instant death vibes. I don't know, I just don't see him making it out of this. Really, what it is though, it probably is pointless death. He's probably in like a mall or something, and then he sees like, I don't know, a cake shop, gets distracted by a cake and is like staring at it, and is like, there's literally no danger at all, but he's staring at the cake for so long trying to taste it, then even starting to taste the walls around it, and then the zombie catches up to him, like literally making the loudest noises, literally unavoidable to most people, but not Bune. Pondreo gives me instant death vibes. I feel like he's gonna try and protect the Divine One. He's gonna be like, oh my god, Divine One, get out of here, get safe, run, and like the Alirs are just like, dude, we're actually like already gone, you know, dude, just come follow us, like we can get out of this together. Pondreo's like, no way, there's no way I'm sacrificing you, Divine One, you are too divine. And Alir's just like, dude, like, chill, like, we just run. Pondreo is like running in circles. He gets eaten. I think that's what happens. Honestly though, most of the cast is kind of capable. Like Hortensia, like, she's not capable enough to, I think, not die instantly, but she has people that here that would protect her. You know, like her retainers would both sacrifice themselves for her. Right? Like, I feel like Rosado could die a heroic death protecting Hortensia, you know? Like, it's like 10 minutes into the movie, maybe like 20 minutes, maybe like 20 minutes, because that feels like, you know, more important to build up heroic moments, you know? And then Hortensia's about to get eaten, and Rosado's like, no, let me protect you. And then he jumps in front of like a zombie horde that's about to eat her face off, because she's just like crying in a corner, too afraid to move. And then Rosado dies a heroic death, but Hortensia can live and get out. And then Goldmary's like, come on, we gotta go, Hortensia. And then she grabs her arm and like runs away, you know, that kind of heroic scene. And then they're running, and then all of a sudden, they're running past a puddle, and then, like, Goldberry sees it, and she's like, ooh, and then gets distracted, and then she forgets, like, zombies are chasing her as well. Hortensia looks back, and all of a sudden, Goldberry's getting eaten to bits. Ugh, that's gross. Why did I say it like that? But she dies a pointless death. Moments after this heroic moment by Rosado. Does this Hortensia survive? Gotta think about that. Chloe, I don't think she's lives either. I don't think... Yeah, is it pointless or is she instant? in terms of like pointlessness, like in terms of her personality, she gets distracted by things like food, but I don't think in a zombie apocalypse, you know, that's really gonna be an issue. Like there's not an overabundance of food that can easily distract her. I mean, sure, I said that with Bune, but then like even if there isn't a cake, there's still walls that he can taste. Chloe, like I've never seen a zombie apocalypse where they just randomly have eel in the middle of the street. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's. Is it gonna be pointless? Maybe an instant death. That's true. She is kind of self-sacrificing. Maybe she'll be like protective of Saline, but that's more heroic. That's her dream. I feel like, to die heroically rather than even survive. I think she'd rather die heroically as a noble knight of her steed, than survive. Unless they give her that archetype, right? And they're like, oh man, I've always wanted to be, you know, a noble knight of Firene and protect my liege Saline. It is so important to me to protect her so much. And then they're building up this archetype of like, oh, she's definitely gonna die, but protecting her Saline. And then all of a sudden, she's just like riding on her Pegasus. Come on, Saline, let's go. And then she just falls off into like a horde of zombies. Like that could be a Chloe thing, you know, like that's a definitely defeating the archetype for sure. Yeah, I feel like she's a point. I feel like there's only so many heroic deaths you can have, you know what I mean? Can't be too repetitive. Alfred, I feel like Alfred, they're gonna try and build him up like a heroic death. You know, like there's no way Alfred's surviving this, right? Let's be real here. But I feel like they're gonna build it up as though it's heroic, but like really it's kind of pointless. Like I don't know, maybe they're on a tall building and they need to walk across like a tight board or something to get to the other side because there's like zombies catching up from behind. And then once they get aside, they can like shut the gate and they're chill. But then the board is like kind of fragile, you know, like it can't hold that many people. And Alfred's like, you guys go on ahead, you know, like I'm not gonna be making this. I'll help hoard off the zombies. And then there's like someone logical, like I don't know, Fogado or someone, and he's like calculating. He's like, dude, why don't we just all run? Like we can probably just all run and like make it alive. And it's like Alfred's like, no, guys, hold up. And then maybe like as they're all doing this, you know, like I don't know, freaking Hortensia trips and it's like, see, I have to hold them back. I'm gonna stop them myself. And then Alfred just runs ahead into the zombies, like holding them off as Hortensia gets back up to cross the board, you know, like they're kind of grouped up there. And Fogado's like, yeah, whatever, man. I don't know how those three ended up together. Oh, I guess Fogado was kind of left lonely with his lieges both dying, and one in the mall and one dying instantly. So yeah, it's gonna be Alfred that sacrifices himself this time. Fogado is just like stuck with incapable people, man. Now he's alone with Hortensia. Poor dude. Hortensia's retainers are dead too, so I guess that makes sense that they're kind of left to each other now. Ivy is, I think she's probably separated from the group now at this point. Yeah, let's make it kind of canonical. She's separated a little from Hortensia, trying to find her long-lost sister in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. I mean, she's got her retainers Zelkov and Kogetsu around her. But, her key motive here is to survive and find Hortensia. You know what I mean? Like, they got a family reunion sort of thing. Oh yeah, and as Alfred dies, Saline's like, Alfred! And it's like, guys, protect Saline for me. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that, your honor, sort of thing. And he's like, Saline, we must go. Saline's like, I can't leave him. And Louis is like, no. And then they go across. Yeah, so maybe they're grouped up as well. That makes sense. Okay, cool. Etienne Boucheron. Okay, you know what? One of them probably dies instantly. I think that kind of makes sense for all of this to work out together. Would it be Etienne or would it be Boucheron? Honestly, I get the sense it's probably Boucheron. You know, he's probably with the pack, It's probably with the pack at the very beginning, like the huge majority, like the Lears, the Fogado, Pandreo, you know, squad, the Alfreds. And then he's like, wait, Divine One, where'd you go? And then he kind of looks around. Oh, you must be over there. And then he mistakes a zombie for like a Lear and then just charges over to the zombie, gets eaten. You know? Really seems like a Boucheron thing. Honestly, he probably beats up a couple before he gets there. He like, one probably bites him and he's like, oh, you're not a Lear. Come on, Lear, don't do that to me. And then he just like punches him back in the face, beats up a couple zombies, but dies. Because could never find the Lears properly. Etier is like, gosh, Saline, looks like I'm helping you alone. Yeah, maybe she's with the squad as well, trying to protect Saline. I could imagine her easily getting distracted by like a plant or something and be like, oh my god, wait, is it truly a dandelion? I've heard that eating lots of dandelions makes you really muscular. And then she's like picking dandelions off the ground, trying to eat them, trying to be like, ooh, I could really put some protein stimulants and supplements next to this dandelion. This one's very yellow. And then as she's planning her protein shake mixed with supplements and dandelions, she gets eaten by a zombie because one catches up to her. So she dies very pointlessly. Honestly, most of the pointless deaths are just kind of people that are easily distracted, which is kind of valid. I mean, that's like how most of it happens. I mean, sometimes maybe there's someone like evil here that's like kind of a backstabber. Do I rank the emblems as well? I'm trying to look and see if like there's anyone that's kind of useless in the emblems, but I don't think so. I think most of them are pretty decent. The only one that might die pointlessly, I don't know, could be like Roy. Roy could die pretty pointlessly. No, you know what, Corrin. But Corrin's gonna be that person that gets dragged really far, you know? Like, people, for some reason, are going to want to protect Corrin at all costs, more than anybody else. And everyone's like, oh my god, it's Corrin. Oh my god, it's Corrin. And like, Corrin makes it through this episode, through that episode, and then towards the end, it's like, there's like a full horde of zombies that you gotta fight off, and like, most of the characters at the time of the ending have like already fought through a ton of zombies, so it's like a piece of cake. Corrin is like fighting them off, and then just like all of a sudden gets hit, you know, like the zombie slashes at them, and then the other one munches down, and they get comboed, and Corrin falls to the zombies. And it's like almost heroic, but it's also kind of well, it's not heroic. I mean, I wouldn't say it's pointless because like you have to fight off the zombies to get there, but it's like not impressive, you know? It's not like heroic. It's not like you're dying to protect someone. So what do you call that? Standard death? That's kind of boring, isn't it? Oh, I have one. Dies fighting, not heroically. I think that's very valid. There goes Corrin. What do you mean that's not a word? Oh, okay. Whatever, man. Yeah, that's Corrin. Honestly, I feel like Vander falls into that too. Vander. I mean, we all look at Vander, right? Not a single one of you think he's gonna survive. I guarantee it. If you think he's gonna survive, I don't believe you. I don't think he dies heroically to protect the Illyrs. I think there's other people who would do that first. I don't think he dies pointlessly either. I think he's just fighting and he just perishes because he can't keep up, you know? Old man needs a break every now and then. You don't really get breaks in zombie apocalypses. Seedle, I don't think can survive this. I don't think I mean, maybe dies fighting, not heroically, because like I think he gets overwhelmed by zombies. He kind of gets cornered. He's easily like isolated. That's for sure. Most of the time, I think he can survive, but like this is like ongoing, you know. I think he tries to run most of the time, and then like it's like, I don't know, very Spider-Man. Like he runs, and then all of a sudden there's a gate in front of him, and he's trying to shake the gate, and like someone's like, "Ooh, Seedle, let me help you." And he's like, "Yes, help me." and then they just completely backstab Seedle and like leave him there to die. Maybe that's like, I don't know, Gris or someone. Yeah, I could see Gris doing that. Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah. I feel like that makes sense. We could put Gris as a betrayer. Betray Seedle. Like maybe they've been like, you know, he's just waiting for a moment to betray Seedle. Like the Seedle finds only like one person in the Gris. And Gris is just waiting for the perfect time to betray. Yeah, that's probably it. I could see the hounds getting split up, so I think that kind of works. I think Mavier is probably going to stick with Vale. Do they survive? Roy, I don't know why. I just get the sense he's going to die kind of pointlessly. I feel like, you know, some of the emblems, like logically, you know, they're not going to have all the emblems die in the same way. You got some dying fighting, some dying otherwise. Do emblems die? Wait, this might be a little flawed. We gotta pretend like they're capable of dying, I guess. I didn't think about the logistics of this too much. I feel like Roy dies pretty pointlessly. He's not very clever. He doesn't really have anybody that he relies on here in this squad that's gonna try and protect him too much. I mean, I feel like Lynn might, but Lynn's not the best at protecting. She's not particularly strong here herself compared to the rest of the cast, unless I'm the one fighting her. Then she's like, for some reason, the strongest person ever. I don't understand that, but she doesn't do a good job of protecting her allies. Like, I'm still able to kill her friends, I just can't kill her, you know what I mean? Okay, you know what, I'm getting on a tangent. But basically Roy dies pointlessly. Because what some of the emblems have to, right? Marth can't. Celica needs kind of like a heartfelt moment to die, you know? I don't know that it's pointless. I don't know it's heroic. Maybe we're gonna add another tier. Yeah, heartfelt death. I think that's pretty good. I definitely think Celica dies a heartfelt death. And then you get like a flashback of Alm or something as she dies. I don't know why I'm laughing about that. That's kind of messed up, man. Does Citrine die? Citrine dies, but how does she die? I think Lapis dies fighting her, actually, yeah, not heroically. I think she does try to protect people, her friends. I mean, she can't really protect Alcrest anymore. He's kind of dead. Maybe he's like, oh, you know what? Alcrest dies and Lapis is like, let's bring him back, and starts fighting the zombies and then dies that way. It's not very heroic because she's like, it's pointless, but like she dies fighting at least. It's not like she's distracted. Marnie, she's also gonna kind of get babied like Hortensia, but she's gonna be more vicious about it, you know what I mean? We also haven't established if the betrayers survive or not, but we'll put them up. We'll put them higher for now. And then we'll kind of throw them in regions after. I'm looking around, I see more people dying, but I don't know how. Alir's, they're the protagonists, but we're not giving them plot armor in this movie. No, heck no, man. They're dying. I think female Alir dies a heroic death, saving people, and then male Alir dies fighting, but not heroically. I think that's just a vibe, you know? Like, I don't know why. I have no basis to back this up other than maybe me hating and I don't know if we need an explanation. Oh, Amber. Amber's a sure death. But how? It's gonna be heartfelt in this way where he's like talking about, I can't wait to see my alpaca friends back at home at the end of this. I can't wait to see George and Larry and Tim and Rebecca, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, he just does this for the entire movie. It's this like thing, and then finally when he dies, it's like, Larry, goodbye, Larry. and it's like heartfelt in his own arc, but like it's completely unrelated to anybody else. Completely unaffects the rest of the story. It's just like his own storyline in the whole thing. I'm trying to think who else would kind of be associated together. Maybe the emblems have some relationships with some of the characters at some point. So maybe like Yunaka and Micaiah are kind of chilling. Yunaka's like, I'll protect you, Micaiah, with my life. And it's her first time ever doing something like that. Micaiah's like, okay. And then Micaiah actually saves Yunaka more than Yunaka saves Micaiah, but it's like, it's kind of the thought that counts. So I think canonically they're gonna make Yunaka a very sympathetic character, someone you can really stand, like you're like, heck yeah, this is my favorite character ever. But when they build characters like this, you know that they gotta kill them off. Now the question is, does she die a heartfelt death, a heroic death? No, it's gotta be one of these two. If you're the fan favorite, you're gonna die either heroically or heartfeltly. So I think there's two routes you can go. Heroically, maybe Micaiah's about to get, like, I don't know, punctured by a zombie hand, and Yunaka like dashes in front of her and takes the blow. Ow. But most of the time, physically, I don't think that works, physics wise. Heartfelt is like, you know, they're fighting, and all of a sudden Yunaka gets slashed out of no, like completely unexpected. It's like a scene where you think someone's gonna die, but you don't suspect it's gonna be Yunaka. She gets slashed. She's like, ow. And then she's like, go on without me, Micaiah. Go. And it's like not heroic because she's not saving someone, but it's heartfelt because it shows how much they bonded after all this time. And then Yunaka's like, promise me you'll save the world or whatever. I don't know. Does Yunaka, would she say that? That might be too much. But she does heartfeltly. I don't think she does heroically. Micaiah continues forward. She's surviving. Erica, who is she chilling with? She's probably chilling with Tamara, hey? I think those two are kind of like solid. Those two are probably doing pretty well. You got Mare and Panette around. Maybe they get into a couple of fights here and there. I could see Marin getting hit once or twice. Panette probably gets hit as well, so they probably don't survive. Or they just get like attacked and like it's not enough damage to kill. Like maybe if you slash, if a zombie slashes you, do you die instantly? Or like not instantly, but like is that a sure death? Or is there like some level of surviving that? I don't think you can survive that. I'm gonna assume that you can't, and I'm gonna assume that Marin and Panette both take damage at some point, but it's like, you know, halfway through the movie to 3/4 of the movie, they fight for a long time, you know? So I think they both die fighting. I feel like that's, I feel like you could definitely die a heroic death. That totally makes sense to me. Nah, but heroic is like a big moment, you know what I mean? So maybe they just die fighting, not heroically. I feel like that makes sense. You dying fighting not heroically makes sense. Panette, if Pandreo dies instantly, there's less that you can do with in terms of heartfelt with her family. If she dies heartfeltly, it has to be in relation to her relationship with Tamara, which is like kind of valid. I think that's possible. Like, you're not gonna like kill him off instantly and be like, oh my god, my brother, oh my god, like, no, then that's not a storyline that really works. Like, yeah, that's really one-sided, you know what I mean? But I feel like she does die a heartfelt death. I don't know, she's just kind of a heartfelt character. So it probably is in relation to Tamara. She's like, Tamara, I just wanted to prove to you that there's nothing more important in this world to me than you. And Tamara's like, oh, I didn't need you to prove that to me, Panette. I already knew this. Panette just dies, but with like a tear running down her face and a smile. And then Tamara's like sobbing. Man, this is kind of depressing. Okay, who else dies? Interestingly, it's like Ivy, Kagetsu, Zelkov, all kind of doing well here. I think Jade dies fighting. I'm not sure if she's heroic or not. I feel like it could be kind of a... No. I feel like it's a pretty standard scene where they don't build much of a storyline for her. But it's like, you look at Jade and you're like, man, that was a cool character. But it's not like she had a huge reason to die heroically. She was just fending them off and then just dies kind of in the background sort of thing. Not heroically, but like dies while fighting, which is kind of heroic. Wait, Lumera? There's a Lumera here? Oh, she has to die heartfelt. That's obvious. There's no way she's surviving, right? That doesn't really make sense for... Oh, crap. But then if she dies heartfelt, and then the Leers die afterwards, that makes that whole storyline kind of pointless. Then you get angry at the Leers. It's like, how could you die? You literally had Lumera to sacrifice herself for you. And then it gets really heartfelt. Yeah, I think that's valid. Yeah, it makes people hate the Leers more, which is like maybe a decent zombie apocalypse arc, right? You know, like you have that one character, it's like you're rooting for them, but they're just so incapable, and then after they show off their incredibly incapable skills, you just can't help but hate them more. Or at least hate them to begin with. Okay, I think most of the remaining characters do pretty well. Citrine dies. I think she dies kind of pointlessly. I think she's just number man. She doesn't have too many self-sufficient qualities about her. Louis either dies heroically, or actually no, he could survive. I don't want to rank him yet because I'm not sure. Sigurd is 100% dying a heroic death. Yeah, he's dying. He's dying to protect people though, and I think he protects people like Leaf. He protects people like, I don't know, probably Louis and Saline, maybe a little bit of Diamant there. Who's this original ring? Oh, the Leers. Yeah, maybe while the Leers were dying, or while they were still alive, Sigurd does a solid and saves them a bit, and he dies heroically there. Definitely very on brand with him, I think. Man, the emblems are... I'm looking at the emblems and I'm thinking a lot of them could survive. Like, first off, I think the one I'm most confident about surviving is Ike. I think Ike survives this, dude. I just don't see him, like, ever struggling. I think he struggles, you know, mentally when things don't go well for him in Path of Radiance. But, like, in terms of fighting, he doesn't really struggle that much, especially, like, after he makes good progress. And we're in buff Ike mode, you know? So that means, like, he's already done the work to get himself here. Get himself to become an emblem. So he's not in struggle mode anymore, I think. He survives. And with him, I think maybe he's, like, they're separated for a long time. But because of Yunaka's heartfelt death, it motivated Makaya to finally reunite with Ike. And then towards the end, they finally get a reunion and they're all happy. And that story arc is checked off. Maybe Ike was chilling with, like, Tamara or someone. And you know what? Because of this, I feel like Tamara and Ike, they would make a great team. They would survive, keep each other safe. Tamara, I think, just has the chops to survive. So I think they're solid. So these two have, like, a kind of sort of the closest thing to a family reunion that they could have in this setup, I guess. I mean, with Yunaka dead at least. And then she is like, they're benefiting off each other. Ike's benefiting off Tamara, Tamara's benefiting off Ike. And then because of that, she's able to have a family reunion with Fogado. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a parallel. Ooh, yeah, they have their family reunion moments. Like, you know, maybe eventually these two find each other and these two are working with each other, and then they finally meet up and then they swap back to, like, their actual family. I guess this is their family now, Ike and Makai, I guess. I don't know, it needs some level of parallel there for it to be somewhat poetic. Yeah, so then you got 4 survivors there, which is pretty good. Anyone else dies here? I don't know that, like, as much as I want to do Celine, I can't think of a way she dies. I feel like she's gonna have people around her kind of be her allies for a bit. I don't know, maybe she has, like, Ivy, Zelkov, Kagetsu at some point. Maybe she's chilling with Lucina too. But then slowly more and more of them start dying, and then she's kind of left alone. Like she's chilling with Roy, sort of thing. Roy dies kind of pointlessly. Lucina, I think she dies fighting, not heroically. I think that makes sense. Fighting till her like last breath. That sounds like a very Lucina thing. You know what I mean? And so that's another number of Lynn that's dead. Roy, Lucina. Statistically, that would mean that some of Ivy's characters have to die too, right? But let's not get there yet. I'm rating Lynn right now, but I think she does make it out towards the end. And I think she makes it like being kind of like a soul survivor and sort of in her kind of arc, you know? Maybe she gets separated from Ivy in the group. Maybe she gets, yeah, maybe she just straight up got separated from these. They weren't traveling together then. You know, we'll retcon that. And Lynn just kind of makes it out alive, but by herself. So it's like, at what cost did she make it out? Marnie. I feel like Marnie is going to... Man, is this just me spoiling Engage? No, I'm completely unspoiled, completely unrelated. She's just gonna die pointlessly. Let's just leave it at that. No, like there's no story arc here, man. Like what story arc here could they make? Like she wants to be accepted by her peers, sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe she's like a wannabe Hortensia. Yeah, maybe that's it. And it's like out of all the people you want to pretend to be, it's like Hortensia, yeah, they're long lost rivals, sort of thing. They hated each other in middle school. And then Marnie just dies. Whereas Hortensia makes it really far. And Hortensia sees her in the background dying, and she's like sad actually, because like you'd expect her to be happy because like her long lost rival, her longtime rival, just got killed. Who had been throwing, you know, tomatoes at the back of her head in the cafeteria every day. You'd think she'd be happy, but she's not. It's like, oh, I didn't like Marnie, but I didn't want her to die, type of thing. And then that builds up, like, you know, you start to like Hortensia more, you know? Like, in the beginning, maybe there was, like, some qualities you like, some you don't like. Then you start to root for Hortensia based on her reaction to her enemies dying. This type of thing. You know what I mean? And then like suddenly Hortensia kind of becomes like a really rootable character, even though she's like clearly one of the most flawed. Anna. Oh. Anna feels like so unrelated to the rest of the characters. Wait, where's Jean? Are you serious? They don't have Jean, my dude? Oh. They don't have Jean. I'm so sad. Oh god, they messed him up. I can't believe they did this to my man Jean. Well, Jean is just gonna be cut off. And you know what? They also forgot Saphir and Lyndon. I can't believe this. I'm gonna have to add this. There's no way we're not ranking these fellas. Okay, they're tiny, but we added Saphir and Lyndon. Alright, how did they die? We gotta figure this out first. This kind of urgent. Well, Sean. I mean, we can't have this guy who looks like this make it with half his face cut off survive, right? No, but he realistically, honestly, maybe does survive. How do you hurt a child? No, I feel like he trips on a rock and dies. And they don't show his death because that's not PG, but he has to die, man. There's no way. This is what he gets for ditching his parents to go fight in the war. Saphir and Lyndon. Lyndon has to die heartfelt. He's thinking about his dead wife, sort of thing. And then Saphir's like, I was here all along. And she dies fighting, not really heroically, probably. Maybe she dies heroically. I don't know. I could see her dying kind of heroically. I could see it. Like, she gives me heroic vibes. But it's like, it's not because she's like doing it for someone super important or anything. She's just doing it for the team, for the benefit of the world, sort of thing. And like they shape her out in a heroic way. That's kind of the vibe I get. Zephyr, does she die a heartfelt way or does she betray people? I definitely think she betrays a lot of people as she's going through the world. That totally makes sense. She probably backstabs everyone. She probably backstabs the Allirs at some point, but doesn't get the Allirs killed, but she like tried. Maybe she's like, oh, this elevator is safe. And then the Allirs go on the elevator, they ride it up, and then it's like zombies there, and then the Allirs are like, close, 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 and then they actually get out. But it's like, what the heck, Zephyr? What was the point of this? Zephyr's like, ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. And like, no one knows why Zephyr did it. Zephyr doesn't even know herself. Man, am I just like, describing Fire Emblem Engage? Anyway. Anna. Can you kill Child? You can kill Child. She dies fighting, not heroically, probably. Or pointlessly. That's kind of tough. No, I don't think she dies pointlessly. I think she's like... Most of the time you think like she's kind of useless, and then it's like, wow, she's actually kind of resourceful, you know? She comes out of nowhere, you know, like puts a bag on someone's head, on a zombie's head to like shield them, and then help save someone that way, and then she keeps running, you know, she's like able to dodge in and out of spaces. Maybe she climbs through some vents at some point to like get some useful material sort of thing. She chucks like, I don't know, apples at people or at zombies to distract them. When they're about to eat other people, so she like saves a lot of people, but the way she dies eventually isn't too heroic. It's because like she got cornered, nobody's there to help her. Like she saved a lot of people, but no one ever returned the favor, and it's kind of sad. Maybe that's kind of heartfelt, honestly. Dies alone. Jeez. Nah, but realistically, it's probably just fighting. I don't know. Heartfelt, or the way I described it is heartfelt, but in her terms of her character, she definitely feels like more dies fighting, not heroically. But I could see there being a heartfelt storyline with just her character and like how she's separated from her parents, sort of thing. Okay, I think that's valid. I think. Look, here's the thing. I feel like it's different the way I'm doing it in my mind because I'm playing out a movie in my mind. Whereas like if you were to do this statistically normal, like based on how they behave in Fire Emblem Engage, I feel like it could be a very different result. But like I'm trying to like, you know, craft a straight up, you know, zombie apocalypse 2025 feature film for Fire Emblem Engage here, you know what I mean? Like my production quality is high for this one. We're not just doing statistics, you know. We're like gonna bring like Chris Pratt to play like Diamant or something, you know what I mean? Speaking of Diamant, he doesn't really give me death vibes. Like, I know that a lot of people would probably want to put him into heroic death. He just doesn't really seem like that to me. He seems like he wins a lot. So that gives me survivor vibes. Marth, I think, dies heartfeltly. Dies in this, like, a moment where he gets separated from someone he cares about a lot. Maybe it's not even the Allirs, maybe it's Vale, because as the Allirs died so pointlessly, slash heroically, slash just fightingly, it becomes Vale as Marth's new closest ally, closest bond. Eventually he dies just fighting them off, but it's like the whole time like Vale's crying because it's like the one person that actually finally saw her for who she is, sort of thing, as an equal to Lear, which makes her have to survive, right? Yeah, they build a bond, she survives, he dies. That's my movie. Mavir, I think he survives too. And it's like he actually kind of thought of Vale in a very positive way the entire time, but like it doesn't matter to Vale because he's old. Does Hortensia die? She makes it very far, and she goes through tons of arcs. You know, at the beginning, she was ready to like just completely not care about people. Like she's like putting herself first. She's like, it's important that I get out of this. And then she starts seeing people around her die for her. You know, Goldberry dies for her, Rosado dies for her, Marnie dies. Even that cuts her a little. And so then she becomes like really sentimental and like caring and like trying to save other people, and then maybe along the way she saves a couple of people. Maybe she does a solid to save Tamara at some point. Maybe she does a solid to save Makai at some point. But then you gotta end that arc. You gotta end the arc, and so she eventually dies towards the end in a heartfelt way. And then it makes everybody cry when she dies. I don't even know how she dies. How does she die? Oh, you know what? She dies with tears streaming down her face, just like, sister, we finally reunited. Yeah. That's it. Got it. She finally reunites with Ivy. What they've been trying to do this entire time. But then all of a sudden, as she like smiles greatly at her older sister, she gets slashed from behind because she got distracted in the one moment. And Ivy's like, no, Hortensia. And because Ivy has to survive, right? Because then you have to have that kind of like dynamic. Because then she survives, but at what cost? She's like depressed now because her long lost sister, who she finally reunited with after an hour and a half of the movie, just dies. I think that's good. Yeah, good arc. All right, cool. Using death as a good arc. Nice. Zalkov Kagetsu. Kagetsu kind of like Diamond. I don't know, just for some reason kind of gives me Survivor vibes. You know what I mean? I feel like he survives, and I feel like it makes sense for either Zalkov or Kagetsu to die, but like it also kind of makes sense for one of them to like have their retainers as they die. Or sorry, one of them to have their retainers with them as they make it to the end. I actually feel like Saline and Louis could survive this. Well, actually, we haven't had like a relationship where like the retainer survives and the protagonist dies. I don't think that's happened. And then then that kind of gives like that complicated thing of like, oh, I failed you, my liege, sort of thing. And honestly, if there's someone that fits into that category, it's probably, is it Ivy or Saline? Who am I killing off? I'd probably say it's Saline. Yeah, she probably dies heartfeltly. But it's not her death that's too heartfelt. Like, she's not the one that's super sad. It's more like Louis is sad because he failed her, and then he has to hang his head in shame as he survives. Kind of like Ivy. Maybe they can bond over that. Yeah. Trauma bonding over death. Yeah. Zalkov, I want to say he survives. Yeah, let's, I mean, yeah, I don't know. He just doesn't really seem like, how do you, like, I can't really see Zalkov in a world dying. Is that weird? I mean, I think that's a compliment, if anything. Then we get 3 emblems left. Does Byleth die? Yeah, honestly, Byleth isn't really the main character in this game, so he definitely has room to die here. In which way though? Heartfelt, heroic? I think it could be dies fighting not heroically, or it could be heroic death. I don't think he sacrifices himself in particular for anybody, but you know what? The group probably comes up a really, really difficult like horde. One that like they've never seen before. Like maybe it's like a 5-headed zombie sort of type of thing, you know, like unbelievably difficult. Anybody else would die instantly to this. Byleth is the only one who has a chance of fighting them off, and Byleth does and dies to protect the group. Leaf and Erica. I definitely think Erica survives. I don't know why. She's just gonna have survivor vibes. And then she's like looking for her brother the entire time. Never finds him. And then she's like, oh. And then she like just turns the ring, and then Ephraim comes up and she's like, I was here with you the whole time, dummy. So we got the meme survivor. Leaf, I don't know. I think he either dies fighting not heroically or he survives. I don't think he dies too heroically, to be honest, if he were to die. Like I can definitely see him fighting to the end. I don't think there's only so much strategy you can do in an apocalypse, and it's not like he's a particularly durable kind of dude, you know what I mean? I think he just dies fighting, not heroically. Yeah, I think that kind of works. I don't think he survives. I feel like out of the other emblems, he has the least relationships with the others, so it doesn't really make sense too much to keep him alive for most of the airtime, as bad as that sounds. But like, his death is non-influential to the rest of the cast. That's dark. Oh yeah, and then we gotta decide the betrayers. Ooh, that's kind of tasty, huh? Tasty? That's kind of exciting. I don't like the word tasty here. I definitely think Zephyr dies here. Is it heartfelt? I don't think so. I feel like she's like betraying people left and right, and all of a sudden she dies a pointless death. You know what I mean? It's like one that easily could have been prevented. Because heartfelt is a bit too redundant there with like a betrayer getting a heartfelt scene. That doesn't really happen in zombie apocalypse movies. It's not that kind of thing, I think, you know? You want to see people you hate either die, not to feel sorry for them, but like just to get rid of them because they deserve it. And then she dies because of that, and he doesn't. He survives, and then that builds up moments for a sequel. You know, like, ooh, is he going to be able to coexist with these other survivors? Because he's kind of a jerk, and they're all kind of good. And like, will he try to betray them further in this world of zombies? I don't know. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z, sort of thing. Okay, let's look into this a little bit. Is there anything I would change? I'm considering throwing down one of the either like Mobby or Kagetsu as a death. I don't know, one of them I feel like could definitely die here. Yeah, maybe Mobby sacrifices himself for Veil. I mean, I wanted to have that kind of arc with like one of them surviving or like both of them surviving, but you gotta like, Veil is like, they try to make her like the most sympathetic character ever. Like, you want to feel sorry for her type of thing, and you'd feel more sorry for her if her closest ally throughout this entire thing, besides Mars, in this storyline at least, dies as well. But we already got that with Marth. Isn't that kind of redundant? You get that double thing, or maybe it's like, oh no, she loses him too. That's the vibe you go for. Yeah, that's the vibe you go for. So he dies heroically, we'll say that. It's kind of heartfelt too, so it's kind of like a mix, but I think heroic is definitely way, like, I definitely think he saves her. Wow, I was kind of chilling. I mean, her sister died, sure, but like, hey, you know, she's got her retainers. Okay, I think this is pretty satisfying. I think realistically, most of them die instantly. Like, a lot of these pointless deaths, I feel like could fall under instant death. But for the sake of storyline, you gotta have some unique ways of dying, you know what I mean? Dies fighting, not heroically. I think this all kind of makes sense. I mean, in a way, dying fighting is kind of a heroic way to die, right? But it's not like a moment. We're just fighting them off. That actually doesn't happen too much in zombie movies, I feel like, where they're just fighting like a casual fight and they just die. But we're doing it in this one. Not everyone needs a heroic death. We only have so much screen time. Heartfelt death. Yeah, all of these are kind of heartfelt, you know? Some of them are more meme heartfelt than others. Others are like very heartfelt, like this one. Heroic death, yeah, this all kind of works. I think this is all pretty good. Anyone here that would die? I honestly could see kind of a Makai death as well. That could be a heartfelt death. The problem is she doesn't have much to like what is there for her to fight for, right? If you have something to fight for and that thing that you fight for survives or makes it past to the end and like Makai doesn't, that's a kind of like a heartfelt setup. Makai doesn't really have that. Someone already heartfelt died for her. Actually, no one really died together. What if like Yunaka and Mikaya died together? That's kind of poetic. It's not even, yeah, I think I like that better, honestly. You don't really have like a death together and like fighting together to the end type of thing. With each other to the end. And I feel like they need that. We do lose that parallel with this, but like honestly the Makai Ike thing wasn't too strong anyway, so like, yeah, I kind of like that. I like that better. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at this and I think this is pretty good. Look, I know like I didn't make too much of like a cohesive plot or anything, but I feel like some of the scenes are like actually kind of decent, you know what I mean? Like maybe Intelligent Systems needs to just hire me as their storytelling writer or whatever. Maybe I'm just that good, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's gonna be it for who would win in, or not win, who would survive in a zombie apocalypse if they were thrown into this unfortunate circumstance. And yeah, the whole list here. Let me know if you would agree with most of this, or I mean, here's the thing, I don't even know that most of this is easy to agree with, but how would yours differ in your zombie apocalypse world? Let me know who you guys think would actually survive if you were to make this kind of weird tier list sort of thing from Gage. And yeah, I'm actually off to go check up on the front door. There's like a lot of weird snarling for some reason.